When you get, give. When you learn, teach. And that is what our beloved Mariam does, as if it is her calling. Before sharing Mariam's life story with you, let me tell you a bit about those who played a role in her life. Starting with Ladan, her sister, and Hamid, her brother. Mariam says we are different in many ways, but similar in other ways. They are both remarkable human beings, and I'm very proud of them. I only wish we lived near each other so we could see each other more often. This is Mariam's sister, Ladan. She said, my mom encouraged three of us to skip as many grades as we could in elementary school. انگار که همه ما تو زندگی عجله داشتیم. As if three of us were rushing forward in life. So when I finished second grade, Mom said, it is not necessarily to waste the whole year on third grade. Then she hired Mariam to teach me during summer. I remember every morning at 10, Mariam diligently started the teaching. She did an excellent job, and I skipped to fourth grade next year. There are many stories to share, but for now, let me share the one that we both clearly remember, the horrifying one. I was 7, 8 years old, and Mariam was 11, 12 years old at the time. Her friend Jale was at our home, and they were sitting on the bed doing geometry homework. As far as they were concerned, I was a child, and they didn't want me there. Mariam asked me a couple of times, or to be more precise, ordered me a couple of times to leave the room. But I wanted so bad to be a part of the scene. To scare me off, she took the compass, Pargar, and said, if you don't leave, I will throw this at you. I didn't move, and she threw it. It hit right under my eyes. I started bleeding, and as if that were not bad enough, she made me go to bed early without dinner and promised never to tell anyone, otherwise she would kill me. I know it's hard to believe, but she did. Now let me share a fun memory from our eventful childhood. We were both taking piano and ballet lesson and were expected to perform in our birthdays. I remember once, Mariam was wearing a caprice pants and tied her blouse in the front and was wearing a hat with a small scarf over it, dancing and lip-singing the Harry Belafonte Banana Boat song. And I was projecting the lampshade on her, moving like a spotlight the whole time. We sure had an interesting childhood, full of events. Mariam Ju, Ladan wants you to know that you are an amazing, amazing, amazing individual. She said you were always wise beyond your years, and I'm grateful for your guidance through life. And above all, for the peaceful life you arranged and managed for Mom's later years. I love you. گرچه از اون روزا خیلی خیلی دوری خاطره های خوش و خوبی. فاصله اگر زیاده دلمون پیش همه، آسمون شهرمون رنگ همه. This is Mariam's brother Hamid. He said, same as my sister, I skipped a couple of classes in elementary school. So I was 2 years younger than my classmates in Alborz High School. It was a tough school with high expectations. I was competent in every subject but math, and kind of lost my confidence over this situation. Mariam, completely on her own without any prompting, took it upon herself to tutor me. I remember going to their home in the afternoon every day for a while until I got back on the track. Today, I contribute a lot of my success to that period because it helped me gain my confidence. Mariam Jun, Hamid wants you to know that you have been very influential in his life. He looks up to you and has great admiration for you.
گرچه از اون روزا خیلی خیلی دوری، ما پر از خاطره های خوش و خوبی. فاصله اگر زیاده دلامون پیش همه، آسمون شهرمون رنگ همه.
Mariam left for boarding school in London when she was 14. There, she was a roommate with 3 Iranian girls. One of them was Lili Khosrowshahi. They remain good friends. Here is Lili. I asked her about Mariam, and she said, Mariam spoke good English. She was exceptionally smart and intelligent, and I was intimidated by her. In fact, I admired and resented her at the same time, and was jealous of her. It took quite some time till we became friends and made many, many memories. One is the letter that we wrote to the Shah of Iran. We simply wrote, Dear Shah. Why is it that people in England say you are not a good king? They tell us you jail and torture your opponents and treat them badly. I don't even remember where we sent the letter, but soon after we got a response saying, Dearest students, we assure you that there is no truth to what they say, and would like you to know that we admire students such as yourselves, continuing their education abroad and looking forward to welcoming you back to Iran. So, it was then when we learned that our king was a fair and democratic king. Mariam Ji, Lily wants you to know that you are exceptional and the most intelligent lady that she knows, and all her childhood resentment turned into sincere admiration for you. جاده عمر، من و تو رفیق راهی. چه خوبه تو جاده عمر، من و تو رفیق راهی. This is Dr. Mariam Safinia, Mariam's husband. Mariam calls him her true love, but I call him man of his words. And this is why. Faramars took me back 2 years ago when he was 14 and Mariam was 4. He said we all slept over and our grandma's home. Early in the morning, I heard Mariam's mom screaming, saying, "Oh my God, Mariam's eyes got lazy. چشای مریم چپ شده. No one would marry her now." To comfort her mother, right away I said, "Huri Jun, don't worry, I will marry her myself." من خودم باهاش ازدواج میکنم. As fate would have it, the summer of 1962 turned out to be one of the most memorable period of my life. I was 28 years old then, coming back from London, where I studied postgraduate. When I arrived in Tehran for a family visit, I saw mother had come to the airport along with my cousin Mariam. I noticed she transformed into a stunning young lady of 18. And I must admit, I was very attracted. But I really didn't know her very much. Days later, we were both at our uncle's home at a swimming party. She was laying in the sun by the pool. I swam close to her and stood in the pool talking to her, asking how is she doing and how is life. Mariam sighed and said, I don't know what to do with my life. Almost immediately, as if a voice said to me, go on, propose. I turned to her and I said, well, you could marry me. She looked at me and we both felt something important was happening. Soon after, I went to her father and officially asked for her hand in marriage. And the rest is history. Mariam Jun, Faramars wants you to know that his love for you never faded away. And you gave him the world by marrying him for the second time. You have been a role model for him in many ways. There are so many things that he's grateful to you, but most of all, for getting him involved in the School of Practical Philosophy to learn a new way of life and happiness.
گرمی دلم را تو بهانه ای، بال خسته ام را آشیانه ای، بی تو غنچه ای خشک پرپر یک باد، بی تو سایه‌ای گم در غبار یاد، بی تو غنچه ای خشک پرپر یک باد، بی تو سایه‌ای گم در غبار یاد.
When Mariam and Faramars married and moved to their home in Newcastle, Faramars' brother Dariush came to live with them. He was 13 at the time. Mariam remembers Dariush saving his last slice of sponge cake for the end of the week to sell to Mariam and Faramars when there was no dessert left. Dariush was about 9 years old when Mariam and Faramars got married. He was not happy about this marriage because he felt like Mariam took Faramars away from him. But later, Mariam became like a godmother to Dariush and Faramars like a godfather. Let's hear from Dariush. He said, our close relationship started when I came to boarding school and Mariam and Faramars became my guardians. One thing that always came to my mind from those days is that when I was new in London, my English was terrible. As every other member of the family, Mariam was tutoring me both in French and English. I remember vividly that I couldn't pronounce the word lieutenant, which in British accent is pronounced lieutenant. Mariam was trying so hard to get me to the right pronunciation, but I didn't get it. Finally, to make me understand, she said, you see, in French it's pronounced lieutenant. And I was, my French is worse than my English. She was always looking for a solution, always. Mariam played the role of a mother, though she was very young herself and truly put so much effort to our well-being. Mariam Jun, Dariush wants you to know that though you make everyone feel special and loved, he likes to think he is the most special one and that he has a place on top of your list of special people. He believes there is not a single person who has crossed your path and not benefited from your wisdom, kindness, and light. There is no one like you, no one. This is Dariush's wife, Simin. She said, Mariam Jun, from the first day that my father met you, he said, she's very bawujud. His statement became more obvious to me when I watched you help every Iranian newcomer in London after the Islamic Revolution. I saw you driving around, picking up unwanted stuff and furniture from family and friends and taking them to newly arrived Iranian immigrants without mentioning any names. Mariam Jun, thank you for opening your home in London to us when we needed the most after the turmoil of the Islamic Revolution. Thank you for your all-time support. You have been like a kind sister and a great friend to me. You are a remarkable friend, full of grace.
دیگران چون بروم
از نظر از دل بروم
تو چنان در دل ما
رفته که جان در بدنی
گرچه از دوری این فاصله ها مایوسی از همین فاصله دور را میبوسی.
Mariam is grateful for her two daughters, Leila and Marjan, and she's immensely proud of them. They both have the qualities that I admire in women, said Mariam. They are both capable, strong, and extremely articulate. They know their way in the world. They are remarkable individuals. This is Leila, Mariam's first daughter. She said, "The first memory that comes to my mind is when my playmate Gigi, who didn't know how to swim, fell into the swimming pool. Right away, Mommy, with her dress, sunglasses, and a cigarette on her lips, jumped into the pool and got Gigi out, and then continued doing what she was doing as if nothing has happened." Mom can handle any situation without getting nervous. I was less than 13 years old when we left Iran. It was beginning of the Islamic Revolution. Mommy, Marjan, and me packed 3 suitcases and left for London to stay at the little unfurnished apartment that my parents recently purchased. As soon as we got there, Mommy took us shopping at Harrods and got everything from bedding, kitchenette, and refrigerator to one roasted chicken for our dinner at night. She furnished the apartment in 24 hours and life went on. She gets things done. She has the ability to organize. She's best problem solver. She's someone you can talk to. She brings clarity to every situation. Mariam Jun, Leila is grateful to you for always being available for the kids and said that I do count my blessing every day that you are my mom. Leila wants you to know that you are good at so many things but delegation. She said, I know you're trying and I know you're getting better, but you need to try harder. آهسته تر شاید کمی آرام تر دستی به دست هم دهیم خوشحال تر کار جهان بین عاقبت قسمت شده قسمت شویم دیگر من و تو چاره نیست وقتش رسیده ما شویم. This is Marjan, Mariam's younger daughter. Marjan has been with Mariam when she was a tycoon businesswoman, go type, as well as the time she started to find meditation in her life. When her personality started to change and evolve. When I asked about Mariam, this is the first thing Marjan said with teary eyes. She often says to me, was I a good mother? For some reason that I cannot begin to understand, there is a doubt around it, which makes no sense to me at all. Because not only was she a great mother when I was a child and an adult, she's a great partner to me as a grown-up. She was so much fun. I remember after the revolution in Nice, we were about 40 Iranian kids who ran this whole complex. It was at the era when I Will Survive was the anthem for everyone. She would lip-sync the song passionately and danced on the table for us. She was really, really fun. I'm grateful for watching my mother living out her full self in world. I have so much respect for her. Look at the way she dealt with cancer. Instead of becoming a victim, she decided not to give the driver's seat to it. Isn't she a real inspiration? She's just an amazing woman. I have profound respect for both my parents. I wish I had their qualities and abilities to uproot, adapt, keep moving, and never get stuck or think that is too much for me. Mariam Jun, Marjan wants you to know that you are a real inspiration to her. And if she can grow old with as much wisdom, grace, and tenacity as you, she couldn't ask for anything more. من میخوام مثل تو دنیا رو ببینم، از یه قطره دل دریا رو ببینم. من میخوام مثل تو از خودم رهاشم، مثل تو عشق بشم، تو دلها جاشم. To start another life in another land and to be closer to children in America, Mariam had to find a trusting person to take over Safinia and company. So she asked Rudy, as she called her third daughter. This is Rudy. Mariam's officiated her civil marriage ceremony, reading from a poem by Khalil Gibran. Let there be a space in your togetherness. She said, I met Mariam Jun 30 years ago at her home, where I went to pick up Marjan. Thankfully, she was not ready. So I sat at the kitchen table chatting with Mariam Jun. This kitchen table conversation became more significant to me over the years, as each time I walked away with a little nugget of wisdom, gently waking me up. Mariam Jun, Rudy wants you to know that you have been her teacher with pure humility, a mother figure with compassion, showing her that she can learn from every daily situation, positive or negative. Finally, she hopes every woman is blessed with the Mariam Safinia in her life. چه خوب که قسمت این بوده سر راهم تو پیداشی، تو پستی و بلندیاش رفیق و مونس ماشی. هرچی گفتی رو شنیدم، حرفاتو به جون خریدم، دیدنی ها رو تو دنیا من با چشمای تو دیدم. In Persian we say از خدا پنهون نیست، از شما پنهون نباشه. It's not hidden from God, so let it not be hidden from you. Mariam fell in love with a much younger man at the age of 60. She fell in love with Omid, her beloved grandson. She used to sing Sanskrit songs which made him giggle, and she would cry bitterly at the end of their summer vacation when they parted. Every time we say goodbye, I die a little. Every time we say goodbye, I wonder why a little. This is Omid. He's 20 years old now. He said, I was 3 years old when I first met Grandma in England. I still can hear her yelling at me, leave the fish alone. You would give her a heart attack when I was trying to take the lily pad off the fishbowl in her flat. When she moved to America in 2004, I was spending at least 3 days a week after school at her place. She fed me with delicious food, and then we spent hours on homework, especially math. Math is not my subject. I used to get very, very frustrated after one try. Slowly, through tough love, she taught me to be patient. You know, whenever I got philosophy lecture in my teen arrogant years, I thought this is a bunch of hooey. But since I graduated high school, I realized that she has so much to teach me. So I might as well shut up and listen. She always has a solution and brings insight to issues. Though her body is not at its best, her mind is sharper than anyone I know. It's all because of school. Her mentality is incredible. She's always very driven. She blows me away. If I could take one trait from her, it would be her drive. Mariam, Omid wants you to know that you are awesome and he loves you to death. He wants you to know he felt something was off and missing during the time he didn't spend much time with you when he got more freedom from his parents to be with his friends. He wants you to know that you are the best listener in the entire planet. And he's grateful for being able to come to you for the slightest of inconvenience. He said, I can't think of anyone better to look up to. Being able to call you my friend, let alone my grandmother, is the best thing I can ever ask for.
چقدر خوبه تو این دنیا یکی مثل تو پیداشه، توی تاریکی و سختی چراغ راه فرداشه. چقدر خوبه که تو هستی، چقدر با بودنت شادم، مثل کوهی به پشت من. چقدر خوبه تو رو دارم.
As many of you know, the first class of practical philosophy offered in San Francisco in 2004. There is a quiet love and energy in the school, says Mariam. We have mourned each other's losses. We have celebrated each other's success. We have danced at our children's wedding. Now we share photos of our marvelous grandchildren. Something has been evolved. Mariam Jun, I asked your student at the School of Practical Philosophy about the changes you brought into their lives. Here are some answers, accompanied by tears at the time, of course. My life expanded after Mariam. as if I moved from a small apartment to a big house. My life changed from darkness to light. There is so much to learn from this amazing woman. She made me believe in myself. I found my voice and capabilities. Often I ask myself, how would I be as a person if she had not come to California? She helped me going through tough battles. She helped me to find my light and be best that I can be. She is like an older, kinder, and wiser sister to me. I realized that I could observe my thoughts and choose them. Now there are tools in my toolbox, and I know what tool to refer to at the times of difficulty. She saved our marriage and eased my relationship with my children. Every tragedy I faced, I went to her all broken and walked out like a hero. She gave me strength to speak out and take action. I grew to be a better person and a better doctor. She helped me crack the thick shell around me. I am more grounded and patient. I became more focused on my business, a better mother to my children, and a better friend. She made me realize that giving love is more important than receiving love. There are more to read, Mariam, but let me bring them all to conclusion and say, you took their hands, opened their minds, and touched their hearts.
این ساحل خسته رو تو پیدا کردی، این موج نشسته را تو برپا کردی.
من خاموش و خسته خفته بودم ای عشق،
مرداب دل مرا تو دریا کردی.
I would like to end this section with Mariam's granddaughter, Lily. Mariam calls her beautiful lily flower and consider her a gift from God. Lily told her once, I came to your family because I saw there is a nice grandma. This is Lily. She said, I have a very close relationship with my grandma. We made many great memories, and she's expert at making new ones. She's naughty, funny, and has a great sense of humor. When I was in daycare, Grandma used to pick me up from school on specific days and take me to dance class. She would bring me food in the car, get me dressed in the bathroom, and pick me up after the class. In later years, when I was taking piano classes, Grandma picked me up from school to take me to piano classes and took me out to eat after. And we talk about my school and my friends. Those days are amongst my best memories. Like every other member of the family, she teaches me math and helps me with my homework. She influenced me on how to think in life and make wiser decisions. So now, whenever my friends have problems, they come to me for solution. Marjan, Lily believes you bring joy into many people's lives, as if it is your mission to leave an impact in their lives and change them for better. She's thankful for the 3-course meal you make for her after school. She wants you to know that you have been a big part of her life and have affected her greatly. You made her a better person that she could possibly be. She said, "I love you, Grandma. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have you in my life. I love you, Grandma." Grandma is so wise. No surprise past her eyes. When I was a child, about 3 or 4, all day I would ask questions. At night I would ask more. I would say, how can I be sure what is right or wrong? And why does what I want always take so long? And why does what I want always take so long? Whenever she never would ever turn me away or push me aside. What she told me would hold me and hold me together inside. She said all the things you ask, you will know someday, but you have to. Got to live in a patient way. God put us here by fate, and by faith that means better days. Grandma is so wise, no surprise past her eyes. Grandma is so wise, no surprise past her eyes. میبینم صورتمو تو آینه، با لبی خسته میپرسم از خودم این غریبه کی از من چی میخواد؟ اون به من یا من به اون خیره شدم. Who is this old lady? I ask as I catch myself looking into the mirror. But when I look into my own eyes in the mirror, that small body who appeared 76 years ago in a different part of the world called Mariam is still here. Coming to the world, one does not necessarily choose his or her parents consciously. I'm truly thankful for the parents I was born into, because both were very disciplined in their own way. Both valued education, language, and service. Pride in being responsible, doing your duties, being grateful and not to take anything for granted is the culture of our family. My father was a forward-looking man, and my mother was avant-garde and advanced. She was not afraid of being different. In fact, she was a bit proud of it. She was a diligent mother, fearless and confident, and that is how she raised us. She believed in experiment. For instance, she registered me at the Miss Mary English school in Iran, which at the time was only a small room with a table in the middle and chairs around it. And Miss Mary would teach each child based on his or her ability and suitability. I remember vividly, as soon as I came home from kindergarten, my mother would serve me a plate filled with small bites of bread and butter, sprinkled with sugar. As I ate them one by one, she asked about my day. Believe it or not, my mother put me in French school, though I didn't know a word of French. She assured me that with her teaching, I will catch up with the class in no time. And I did. She also told me to go and sit right by the best student in the class, because she believed you become the company you keep. مادرم پر از محبت، مادرم پر از خرد بود، درس خوب زندگی رو مادرم خیلی بلد بود. تو خونه ما یه جور ولخرجیا و ریخت و پاشا نبود. Mom was very frugal, and she was an expert in making eye-catching things from what was available to us. As a result, I do not know what extravagant is. من معنی ولخرجی رو نمیدونم. I remember once my father, as a part of his business, imported dark navy and white striped velvet for Nowruz. Unfortunately, it didn't sell well, and there was lots of leftovers. My mother not only reupholstered all the furniture with that fabric, but also she made us all outfit to match our furniture. Yes. My mother was a teacher. She saved her money for expenses that perhaps my father didn't approve of, like throwing big birthday parties for us. Our birthdays were events and we were bound to perform in our birthday. I was the first granddaughter from both my parents' side. I was loved and I was special. So special that my mother starched my cloth diapers. Can you imagine how painful that could be? Of course, she realized after a couple of tries. من از بچگی عاشق پیشه بودم. I was romantic since childhood. At the age of 4, I was in love with a curly, red-haired boy at the kindergarten. He liked me too. Once he put 4 M's in corner of his notebook, meaning Mariam Muqaddam. At the age of 8, I shared the joy of being in love with the same boy, with my best friend. We innocently skimmed and invited him 30 minutes earlier for my birthday party, but he didn't show up and left us disappointed. پرسیدی از عشق اول فقط از رو بچگی بود، چی بگم از عشق دوم اونم از رو سادگی بود. دل من همیشه انگار عاشق شدن بود، دنبال بوی خوش عشق، دنبال بیتاب شدن بود. I had eye problems since childhood and had 4 surgeries on my eyes. I wore an eye patch for a couple of years, which didn't bother me at all, to the point that the kids in school asked their mother why can't they wear eye patch. I was sent to boarding school in London at the age of 14. There I was assigned with 3 Iranian girls. As soon as my mom found out, she complained to authorities, saying if I wanted my daughter to be with Iranians, I would have kept her in Iran. Right away, they changed my dorm room. I did very well academically and completed my formal education at the age of 16. My father sat with me and talked about continuing my education. I will never forget. He asked in English, art or science? I liked both, so I chose architecture. And since I was underage for university by London standard, I applied and got accepted in Carnegie Institute of Technology in the United States in 1960. Suddenly, my whole world became vast. There were thousands of students in the university, and I was the only female studying architecture with 250 male students. In the summer of 1962, I came to Iran for holidays. I was 18 at the time. I will never forget the night that I went to see a movie in Cinema Vanak with some relatives. Afterwards, my aunt said, my son Faramers is arriving from London tonight. Let's all go to the airport to welcome him. When his flight arrived, I saw a good-looking young man with a blue blazer coming out. He was truly lovely. No, I didn't think anything of it at the time. That summer, I was teaching English in Safinia school, which was established by Faramar's mother saw him there many times, and he always insisting on giving me a ride home. And you heard the rest of the story. Yes. Soon we celebrated our union in Hotel Darband with 594 strangers invited by my parents and 6 of our friends. The next day, we left for Nice with a $250 gift given to us by our uncle to spend on our honeymoon. It was there that we had a chance to get to know one another and form our everlasting friendship. حرف قصه های عاشقانه ای
شوق یک نگاه کودکانه ای
بی تو خلوت من خالی از صدا تو به من که شعرم را ترانه ای
بی تو خلوت من خالی از صدا تو به من که شعرم را ترانه ای
تو به من که شعرم را ترانه ای. Right after honeymoon, we went to Newcastle where Faromars was living with his 3 roommates. And in less than 2 months, we moved to our new home that we purchased with no down payment. With £300 more, we could have a built-in radiator to heat up the cold nights of Newcastle. But we couldn't afford it, and Faromars was not willing to accept any financial help from either side of the family. The weather was so cold at night that our bedroom window would froze from inside. We were victims of our own excessive pride. Cold nights and tough nights. I remember in one of my letters to Mom, I innocently apologized for my shaky handwriting, saying today was very cold, and I just brought in our hand-wash bedding, which were frozen on the clothesline to be dried. Mom was so upset. But that is another story. That is another story. قصه ها خیلی زیاده، قصه بیده و باده. باد اومد پشتم و لرزون، ولی ریشم توی خاک موند. قصه ها خیلی زیاده، قصه بیده و باده. Faramar's brother, Daryush, who is 7 years younger than me, came to live with us, and I started attending the university. We were living on a tight budget, and I did my best to create a beautiful home. I purchased everything in the set of 4. There was no room for excess. In fact, when Faramars invited his colleague and his wife for dinner once, we had to ask Daryush to eat out and come home late so we can use the whole dinnerware set. Every Saturday, I cleaned the house and Faramers did the shopping. To eat well and save money, every week we purchase about 10 pounds of ground beef. I became so creative that I made different kind of food every night. Monday's kebab, Tuesday qeymeh, Wednesday spaghetti, and so on. Needless to say that by Friday, we had the last portion of the meat for only the three of us. I remember a Friday, as I was waiting for Faramers to pick me up from university, I ran into one of my classmates. He said, "Oh my God, I'm really late. By the time I get to the dorm, the food is gone." Without thinking, I said, "Would you like to join us for dinner?" He got so happy and immediately accepted my invitation. As we were driving home, I realized it is Friday, and we only have 6 small patties for the three of us. And there is no way of mixing them again to make it 8. So I put 1.5 patties for each one of us. We really watched our budget. As for entertainment, since TV was in the living room where Faramers studied for his specialty, we could only watch British music chart on Saturday. Later on, we were introduced and addicted to the James Bond books. I would read it first, then pass it on to the boys. We also met an older gentleman. He was Iranian. He came on Sundays to play bridge with us after lunch. That was our routine for a long, long time. And I was thankful. دلخوشی ها کم نیست، دیده ها نابیناست. دلخوشم با غزلی، تکه نانی آبی، جمله کوتاهی یا به شعر نامی. و اگر باز بپرسی گویم دلخوشم با نفسی حبه قندی چای، صحبت اهل دلی فارغ از همهمه دنیایی. دلخوشی ها کم نیست. I graduated and started working in an architectural firm when Faramers discussed his readiness for fatherhood. I was reluctant because I was very young and afraid of having a baby. Besides, I never thought I would be a good mother. Nonetheless, I became pregnant at the age of 21. Close to delivery, my father came to visit for a couple of days. I remember vividly. It was Sunday afternoon. After lunch, I bent over to put the apple pie that I skillfully made in the oven when my labor pain started. Faramers, along with my father and Dariush, dropped me off at the hospital and left. I remember being in excruciating pain in delivery room, repeating our home phone number, 6925223, 6925223, 6925223, so they can inform Faramers when the baby arrived. I was 22 when Layla was born. I had no one to help me or to tell me how to handle a baby. First time, bathing her I had the book by my side, following the instruction, step by step, as if I was following a recipe. It was hard. It was hard, but it was joyful. After 4 years living in Newcastle, we went back to Iran and started a much more comfortable life. Faramars started military service, and I stayed with his mom, teaching at her school. We had a good life, and I never felt anything was missing. But it didn't come easy. I always felt responsible and worked hard. Our second daughter, Marjan, was born. We established an elaborated lifestyle with various groups of friends and pretended to be grown-ups. Now that I think about it, it looks like a theater. Every night, we changed clothes and appeared on a different stage. I used to go to Europe in summertime shopping for the next theater season. It was a mockery. Faramars was appointed sub-dean at the dental school of the National University and began his private practice. And I started to teach at the same university. We lived in Iran for 13 years, till sign of the Islamic Revolution arrived. Layla was 12 and Marjan 7 when 3 of us boarded a plane bound for London in January of 1979, leaving behind a husband, home, and a nation in the turmoil of a revolution. Yet we were amongst the lucky ones. My mother-in-law spent 3.5 terrifying months in prison because she had been a member of parliament during Shah's regime. The Iranian Revolution shattered families. بیامد مردی گفت روح خدایم شما ای عاشقان گردید فدایم که از خون شما لاله بروید کسی دیگر کفنها را نشوید. Quickly we came to conclusion that we had to turn our backs on the comfort and ease of our life in Iran, so our daughters could grow up in a free society. And we never regretted our decision. Never. To start, we formed a new offshore company and called it Dobare Investment, trying to build everything and establish ourselves. حسرت روزای رفته همه باشه واسه بعد خاطراتمون بد و خوب همه باشه واسه بعد تازه از راه رسیدیم همه از نیمه خم هرچی بود نقطه گذاشتیم رفتیم سر خم. We opened our home to family and loved ones. At the beginning, 10 of us were living in our 2-bedroom apartment in London. My sister with her 2 daughters, Faramar's brother, his wife, 2 children and their maid, and us. TV was on all the time, showing demonstrations, strikes, and fire all over the streets of Tehran. We were disturbed and confused and couldn't realize what was going on in our children's little head. I remember when my brother-in-law was going back to Iran, his daughter asked, "Where are you going?" "To our home, Iran," he replied. "Isn't our home burned out?" she asked. It was a difficult time. خانه دگر آباد نیست، در بنده و آزاد نیست. خانه فضایش جنگ و خون، ایران دگر ایران نیست. ایران دگر ایران نیست. Faramars was able to find a job in no time, though it was beneath his specialty. But I had a hard time. As Faramars suggested, I studied sociology in hope of finding a job. But that didn't help either, as if being Iranian was bad omen. Once when I dropped off Marjan at school, I picked up school's newsletter. A short advertisement about career consultant with 10% discount caught my attention. Though it was a rainy night, I decided to go. It was a strange place. I climbed lots of stairs and opened the door. There was a small tumble-down room with a table in a corner and a lady sitting behind the desk. It was like a set in the movies, as if the set only appeared to give me a message and would disassemble right after. It was very weird. I told her about myself, my education, and my experiences. She listened carefully and said, "Positions you have applied for are for a recent university graduate, 21, 22 years old. You are 35 years old. Your personality has been formed. Don't waste your time." At the end, she sent me home with some tips about how to create a job for myself. I thought I studied architecture, so I'm familiar with houses and buildings and know lots of people who just came from Iran, looking to buy or sell their home. The best idea is to go to real estate business, since in London, no license was required at the time. I started sending application to real estate agencies. I got 3 interviews. One of them hired me with commission only. I was so shy and excited that I didn't even ask about the percentage and started working immediately. I called every number in my phone book, telling people about my new career. And as the result, in a short amount of time, I was able to get lots of listings which were distributed in the agency. When I gained enough experience, I thought, bringing all these listings, I should ask for an introductory fee or a higher percentage. I did. They refused. And I left that office after 9 months of frustration, coldness, and carelessness. I went to seek advice from an old English friend of my father that I knew from Iran. He was a designer and had an office in a nice area in middle of London. Right away, he asked me to work from his office and share 50% of my commission with him. To be honest, even if he would have offered me 10%, I would have happily accepted it. I worked from that office for 4 years, till he retired. Then I opened up my own company and named it Safinia and Company. And the rest is history. دویدم سختی زیاد کشیدم به اون چه که میخواستم من آسون نرسیدم پستی بود و بلندی گاهی کوه سنگی راهو به شوق فردا رفتم به جون خریدم Marjan and I both worked extremely hard. Financially, we were doing well, but our relationship was not going well at all. To find a solution, I started therapy twice a week. For 5 years, my therapist sat there, and I went over and over and over of episode of my life, feeling more and more miserable about myself. It was nice to talk to someone, but I didn't make an enormous progress or learning much about myself. It was around that time when our daughter Layla left for the US to continue her education. Marjan, I, and Faramars were living together, and my relationship with Faramars was getting worse as days went by. I was fed up. به قول معروف دیگه بریدم. Faramars had felt it too. We had a small rental apartment, which was vacated at the time. I considered going there to live for a couple of weeks, to think things through. من و تو با هم اما چه جدایی من و تو دستمون تو دست هم فاصله داریم من و تو همه از قصه عشق ما دوتا پرسیدم ما تو مبهوت به دنبال جوابیم من و تو بگو کجای کاریم من و تو بگو کجای کاریم من و تو We ended up getting divorced. Suddenly, I noticed I had my evenings free and I don't need to rush home from work. I can do something creative, like taking a Spanish class or travel. The adventures one's supposed to do when 18, 20 years of age, I did at the age of 45. It was then when I spotted a small ad in Time Out magazine for a course in practical philosophy. I thought it's a one-time lecture, so I went. I remember the very first night, I sat in the middle of the front row with pen and pad ready, full of judgment about the course, where the teacher read from his notes. Then I noticed the unmatched socks, one dark blue and one black. I could not remove my attention from it. 10 minutes to the class, I stopped taking notes and started to listen. After we practiced the exercise, I became aware of the noises in my head and wished I could unscrew my head and be free from all that non-stop noises. You know, I spent many years as a spiritual tourist. I read many self-help books and attended many seminars. In fact, if you would have invited me to dinner with a bunch of intellectuals, you would have been very impressed by me. I could talk about every theory, but none of them had really affected me. Yet, that one class awakened something in me that was new, and it felt very real. I noticed none of the things he's saying is complicated, but it hadn't been put together like this for me. I had found what I was searching for. The words became music to my ears. I signed up, and the rest is history. بوی گلو نسیم صبا میتوان شدن گر بگذری ز خویش چه ها میتوان شدن شبنم به آفتاب رسید از فتادگی بنگر که از کجا به کجا میتوان شدن. Soon after finding practical philosophy in the fall of 1990, one day after my daily swim, I was getting dressed for work. I noticed a lump the size of a plum under my arms. Yes, cancer had taken hold. At the time, they called it Big C, and no one would talk about it openly. It took a while for me to adjust and accept it. I underwent months of treatments, but through it all, I never missed a philosophy class. Students were so compassionate towards me, they even moved the class from upstairs to the ground because I was too weak to climb the stairs. They were tough days. I remember a short period of disorientation. But honestly, I can't take myself to that time of my life now. It's not even interesting because I'm not that person anymore. به قول سهراب سپهری
به حباب نگران لب یک رود قسم و به کوتاهی آن لحظه شادی که گذشت قصه هم خواهد رفت آنچنانی که فقط خاطره‌ای خواهد ماند.
The second Faramars heard the news from our daughter Layla. He came to help and stood by me every step of the way. Like every cloud, Cancer had its own silver lining. The arguments and the stress that led Faramars and I to our divorce seemed irrelevant in the face of Cancer. Together, with the teaching of practical philosophy, Cancer healed our broken marriage and brought forgiveness to our hearts. And we remarried after my treatment. Our daughter Layla, her husband Jawad, and our grandson Omid witnessed our ceremony.
یه دل از من،
یه دل از من،
یه قدم من،
یه قدم من، دستاتو بذار تو دستم، من هنوز عاشقت هستم.
دستاتو بذار تو دستم، من هنوز عاشقت هستم.
I did try very hard to introduce Faramars to school. I even paid for his tuition, but he didn't come. He said, I don't need these kind of classes, you go. I did. In fact, I even went one extra night as an assistant to help organize chairs, pass out handouts, take rows, and listen to different teachers. That is how I was exposed to different teaching styles and started teaching after 4 years. Marjan left for America to continue her education. Unfortunately, after a while, the relationship between Faramars and I became bitter again. I thought of leaving again, but a teacher of mine got me thinking when he said, it is not wise doing the same thing and expecting different results. So I took a different approach. I made a beautiful album of memorable photos of our life together as a gift for his 60th birthday to remind him of our deep-rooted love. از سخنچینان شنیدم آشنایت نیستم خاطراتت را بیاور تا بگویم کیستم زندگی در برزخ وصل و جدایی ساده نیست صخره‌ام هر قدر بی‌مهری کنی میستم was so touched, he cried and asked to try to make things work once more. I have always been in love with this man. Always. Even when we were divorced and yelling at each other, we promised one another to be a better couple. تار و پود خانه نقش یاد تو
هر کجا نشان آشنای تو
پشت هر دریچه چشم انتظار خاطرم همیشه از تو بیقرار
پشت هر دریچه چشم انتظار خاطرم همیشه از تو بیقرار
It was before my 60th birthday that we came to America to help Marjan, moving to a new place. As we were about to leave, she said, "Mom, you should think about moving to America. Layla and I won't come back to London. For now, we need you and you're helpful. But it might come a day that you need us. It is better for you too to be in the US." We have had this conversation before, but we always came to conclusion that who wants to leave central London and come to live in San Ramon County? But somehow that day, I heard it differently. A quick back of the envelope calculation showed that the move is doable and financial security is possible with careful planning. Like each of those previous decisions, it was another leap across the unknown. باز هم وقت سفر شد، باز باید از نو ساخت، باز باید کوچ کرد، باز باید برد و بار، باز باید دست تقدیر رو گرفت و پا به پایش رفت و رفت، باز باید دل به دریا زد سوی فرداها شتافت. My only concern was the school. There was no school in California at the time. I spoke about it with my tutor, who simply said, "Why don't you start a school there?" With disbelief, I replied, "By myself?" And she said, "Why not? Mr. McLaren lived." The seed was planted. ذهن ما باغچه است، گل در آن باید کاشت، گل نکاری علف هرز در آن می روید، گل بکاری تا مجال علف هرز فراهم نشود، بی گل آرایی ذهن آدمی آدم نشود. We moved to the United States in June of 2004, and the first Part 1 class was offered in San Francisco in early October of the same year. I had sent out an email to all those I knew in the Bay Area and put a small ad in a free local paper. With the help of my son-in-law, Javad, I loaded the car with kettles, teas and coffees, paper plates and cups, cookies and fruits, flyer and handout, and headed 40 miles away for Fort Mason. Not knowing whether even one person would turn up. 14 people turn up. On that first night, mostly friends who came to support me. And there were a few promises to register the following week. We ended that term with 5 students. The universe kept opening doors, one after another. People kept coming. There were requests for me to offer practical philosophy in other cities. Within a few months, I was driving 350 miles a week, going to 4 different locations, teaching 6 classes. At around that time, my body became unwell, and I was told by doctor not to drive for a few months. Several students stepped forward to take turn to drive me to class and back, clocking over 100 extra miles in the process of each week. However, the real gift of this time period was when my husband, Faramars, volunteered to take over the driving duties. At first, he planned to wait for me in the car till I come back. But since time didn't pass as quickly as he liked, he joined the first class and then every one of the 6 classes. After resisting for so long, he was totally immersed in practical philosophy and had found peace within himself. And above all that, he became a brilliant Part 1 tutor. After nearly 50 years together, we now have a marriage of true minds. خنکاندم که نشینیم در ایوان من و تو، به 2 نقشا به 2 صورت، به یکی جان من و تو، من و تو بی من و تو جمع شویم از سر شوق، خوش و فارغ ز خرافات پریشان من و تو. As for the school, gradually I felt my body cannot cope with the traffic and driving. So we got a place and asked a student to come to us. And they did wholeheartedly. As many of you know, in 2012, cancer returned. After reviewing the MRI, the doctor told me, this is a stage 4 metastasized cancer. Up and down your spine, your pelvis, and your skull. I have to confess, I had trouble sleeping for a couple of nights, trying to figure out how to put my life together. A few nights later, I lay on the couch and started to write goodbye letters to my grandchildren. Then I called my sister and asked her to come and collect Mom's files. I made sure the earthquake supplies in the garage were updated and fresh. I reviewed my will and our family trust. My husband and I had long, deep, and sometimes tearful conversation late at night in bed about mortality, enduring love, and carrying on alone. When I was done with the preparation, I announced to those close to me that I was not invalid, and I was determined to live a full life. After that, I had a conversation with my cancer out loud. Would you believe it? I explained that we were roommates now, and I have no choice but to accept her presence in my body. But she would need to respect my boundaries if we were both going to survive. So far, it has worked. I'm telling you these stories because how we face the events of life makes all the difference in what we get out of the experience. ز نخستین دیدار هر سخن هر رفتار دانه هاییست که می افشانی برگ و باریست که می رویانی زندگی صحنه یکتای هنرمندی ماست هر کسی نغمه خود خواند و از صحنه رود صحنه پیوسته به جاست خرم آن نغمه که مردم بسپارند به یاد When I look at my life, it is like a story that happened to somebody else. And I just happened to be there as an observer, like watching a movie. I played the role of a daughter, a wife, a young mother, a student, a teacher, and a grandmother. It has been an adventurous journey. Much learning, unlearning, and relearning. No complaint, I'm happy. I'm really grateful that I have this marriage to rest in. This year marks our 58th marriage anniversary. I'm grateful for his enduring love. Along with my family, we have made it. We have reinvented ourselves and redefined the meaning of home. Now we are at home everywhere. I lived in 3 continents and experienced 3 completely different lives and met 3 groups of people. Life after 60 has been the best chapter of my life. Thank you for accompanying me. I became myself, free of pretending. The need for people's approval is no longer there. I don't need to be right. I don't have to have an opinion about everything. I'm able to see beauty and goodness in everything. my needs are far less, and my contentment is far more. I have much less to say. There is almost no competition anymore, no jealousy, no sense of falling behind or racing ahead. I have very little claim in life. Life doesn't owe me anything. Nobody owes me anything. I receive far more than anyone deserves. Well-rounded, good ending, no regrets. Thank you for accompanying me on this best chapter of my life. Each of you knows exactly what you mean to me. You are the investment of my life. No wonder I'm so richly blessed. You have heard these thoughts from me over the years, yet it somehow felt important to take inventory of these 76 years and to share it with you honestly. It has been a wonderful life. Thank you for your part in my journey. Thank you. زندگی را مزه کردم، تلخ و شیرینش چشیدم، خوب و بد یا زشت و زیبا دیدم و گفتم شنیدم. راه پرشیب و فراز و پیچ و خم بسیار دیدم، توشه راهم ببستم، از دورنگی ها بریدم، میروم همچون نسیمی. زندگی جز یک سفر نیست، روزهای رفتم را حسرتی دیگر به دل نیست. شکوه و افسوس و ای کاش در خیال من دگر نیست. آرزویی نیست بر دل، بهتر از اینم دگر چیست. بوسه ها بر سرنوشت، دست تقدیر و سرشت، سهم مرا با خط عشق در زندگی خوانا نوشت.